They are making a difference on 938 Live.
Proverbs. They can be pithy, witty, and funny, and so many are unforgettable. Before the viral tweet came the proverb, the compressed wisdom of the ages. I'm sure you've heard of popular lines of wisdom like actions speak louder than words, or home is where the heart is. But have you heard of this one?
This is again a translation of a Teochew proverb. If the mountain goat is in a good mood, even having no grass is fine. So if you're in a good mood, you forget the problems of life. If you're happy, you forget that your house isn't the best. You forget that your car isn't the best. If you have inner happiness, material things don't matter.
That's Madan Mohan Rao, the 48-year-old former communications director at the United Nations Interpress Service Bureau, consultant and author. Tells me that as a child growing up in Pune, India, he would collect proverbs on scraps of paper. Now he's making a difference to the preservation of the short expressions of popular wisdom that are uniquely Singapore's. Together with financial journalist Shivali Nayak, Madan Mohan Rao is behind a brand new, soon-to-be-published collection of Singapore proverbs that for the first time collects in a pocket-sized book English translations of the proverbs of all the local languages here in Singapore. Madan Mohan Rao tells me more about the Singapore Proverbs Project.
The project started in December last year when I came to Singapore to launch another book of mine called Indian Proverbs. So I've started a series of projects called The World of Proverbs, which capture the Proverbs heritage of the world, translated into English and various other languages. We are moving so fast in the global consumer world that we tend to forget sometimes what our deep roots are, what are the intangible aspects of our culture, how can we learn from the experience of our ancestors from thousands of years, thousands of millennia. So this book was launched in December last year, and in the audience I met Shivali Nayak, who is a journalist also and a writer based in Singapore, born and raised in Singapore. And she said, hey, this is a good idea. Can we do something similar in Singapore? I said, sure. I don't speak any Chinese dialects or Malay, but if you can find a team of researchers, sure, let's do it. So we have Shivali and myself as the editors of the project, and we have a bunch of researchers bringing us proverbs from different languages, and we translated them into a series of books. So the first book will be a small pocket book, a collection of proverbs translated into English for the mass market. And later on we want to bring in academics, illustrators, animators, and design books for kids, animation, apps for the iPad, etc. So we already have a clip on YouTube, a video clip which has recordings from about 50 people reading out proverbs in the original language with English subtitles. That's a lot of work, so we're looking for some funding from some heritage organization to bring this whole series of books to the market.
So for this particular book, when will you know that it's done? I mean, what's the cutoff for this?
We have currently got about 100 proverbs in a small mock-up. We already are tweeting proverbs for free. If you go to Twitter, SG Proverbs, SG for Singapore, SG Proverbs, you can see tweets, one proverb a day over the last 3 months of proverbs in English. And there also is a Facebook page called Singapore Proverbs. So we have a few hundred already collected, about 700 proverbs collected. Once we reach 1,000, we want to publish the first version of the book. Then we'll keep collecting, but look for the next version, which is animators, designers. We want to include the original language along with the proverb. The mock-up and the book, the first version of the book, will have everything presented in English for a wider audience. But the next edition, we would like to bring the original font, the Chinese font, then the English spelling, and then the English interpretation in each of the languages.
So there are Malay proverbs, there are Tamil proverbs, and for the Mandarin language, you chose to include all the proverbs of the dialects.
Yes, we have Mandarin, we have Cantonese, we have Hakka, Hokkien, Hainanese, and Teochew. We believe that dialects also have a slightly different spin on the world that we know, the world that we understand, and it's very important for us to grab and grasp these before they disappear. And this is also good business. This is the stuff that becomes plays, it can become actors, it can become movies. For instance, the Arts House has helped us a lot on this project. They actually organized for their anniversary, the 8th anniversary, plays based on proverbs. So they took the first version of this Proverbs book and they had a Chinese play based on a Chinese proverb. They took a Malay proverb and made a play out of it, etc. So you can actually build whole works of art on these kinds of proverbs. We've done a video installation. We're looking at posters. Eventually, this could become a traveling exhibit, and people around the world can learn about the diversity, linguistic diversity, literary diversity of Singapore.
How do your team of researchers unearth these proverbs? Because some of the languages, did they find that they're dying out, or there's difficulty getting these proverbs?
Yeah, I would say some languages, for some languages, the proverbs are very well documented. For instance, for Tamil, Malay, there are many books that you can get, but these are all only in Malay or Tamil. Someone has to translate this and interpret some of it. Some of the translations don't cut across very well because the linguistic context is very different. For instance, if I say Muruku, people who speak Tamil or Singaporeans who've seen Muruku know what it is. But someone from Brazil will say, what's a Muruku? And only when you see it, when you know what it tastes like, do you understand what the proverb is all about.
Yes.
So some things don't translate very well into other cultures, etc. So we have a Malay expert from the Department of Education. We've got a couple of Chinese experts from NTU. We have Indians who speak Tamil very well, who also speak some other languages, and they all are experts in this project. So we have academics, we have journalists, and we have hobbyists looking at this project.
That's Madan Mohan Rao telling me more about the Singapore Proverbs Project. Tomorrow we find out how senior citizens are contributing with the proverbs they remember. This has been They Are Making a Difference. I'm Michelle Martin.